The holidays are over, and the kids are going back to school.
That's not exactly how we see it.
Get back into the routine with smart back-to-school savings from Walmart. They've got the snacks your kids love, like 12-count Quaker Chewy Bars or yummy 7-ounce Sun Chips Harvest Cheddar, each just $2.98. So turn lunchtime into fun time.
Did you see the new snacks I put in your lunch?
School's not so bad.
Start strong. Save big. Walmart.
Blog Talk Radio.
Dedicated to communicate to you and provide you with information of being aware and keep open mind to alternative ways of healing, whether it's physical, emotional, or spiritual. We invite you to live your life with purpose by trusting your own intuition. Our mission is to awaken your awareness where you can listen to your own truth. We inspire you in connecting with your own spirit where the healing takes place and create a lifestyle filled with health, wealth, joy, and happiness. In Waves of Healing show, we'll bring you energy healers, spiritual leaders, and health-conscious personalities who will be answer to all your questions. I'm your host, Leah Yekutiel, coming to you live from Los Angeles, California, as I do every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. I am a breast cancer victor, not victim, and the author of the book, Making the Breast of It, with the subtitle, Overcoming Fear of Intimacy After Mastectomy. To learn more about my book, please visit my website at www.ilovemybreastcancer.com. All in one word, ilovemybreastcancer.com. And while you are visiting my website, please purchase my book and give a gift of love to somebody you love who went through breast cancer, where they can learn how to reclaim their femininity back and how to rebuild their self-confidence living with breast cancer, and learn how to accept their new image and love it. And one other thing that is really important that they will learn, that they will learn that sexuality exudes from inside out and not from outside in. And the most important thing that they will learn through the many exercises in the book, how to connect with the spiritual aspect of life, where they realize that we women are not only our body, and neither we are only our breasts, in order to be sexual, viable, vibrant being. So also anybody who purchased my book through my website, I'll autograph the book before it gets shipped out. And also while you are visiting my website, you can download for free 25 breast health tips that if you apply few of them in your daily life, you'll be surprised how many cancers, how many diseases we can prevent. Because my show is all about prevention. And the people that I bring you to the show are all promoting prevention and natural treatment versus the other stuff that we do not want to experience. And also, I wanted to tell you that my book is being made into a movie, and we are in search for capital investors who are interested in investing in such an educational and important subject as breast cancer. So if any one of you know of such a person, please contact me, and I really thank you very much in advance. With that said, I want to tell you who is my guest today. It's just unbelievable person that I had personal experience with him, and he helped me tremendously. So, and my guest today is Don Tolman. Many of you know about Don Tolman and his medical health website and all his knowledge. But for those who are not that familiar with him, let me tell you just a little bit about Don Tolman, and what I'm going to say is just the tip of the iceberg. So Don Tolman is an author, public speaker, trainer, educator, entertainer, and experimental nutritional eating researcher. He has written multiple books on variety of skill-specific mental functions and self-improvement topics. He has been a coach and mentor for key personnel with Xerox, General Motors, and Pitney Bowes corporations. He has been a return guest on The Donahue Show, Entertainment Tonight, and ABC Talk Radio in the U.S., Australia, and New Zealand. Don's revolutionary discoveries in the field of whole food nutrition have earned him the right to speak at some of the world's leading health and technology organizations such as MIT, the Health Research Academy at Cornell University, and the prestigious Johns Hopkins Hospital. In 1995, after 4 days on water alone, Don drank 1 quart of fresh squeezed grape juice and then ran a 26 miles marathon. This feat was documented, supervised, and filmed by the Hollywood Film Academy company, Motion Media, and the LA Film Factory. Over the past 30 years, Don has been able to apply his wisdom in assisting many cancer patients to return to full health without invasive conventional medical treatments. And Don is my kind of man who does everything. And I want to tell you that Don, it's a really big honor for me to have Don again on my show after he was here 2 months ago. And I got so many people wanting to have him on my show again. So we are lucky to have, and it's my privilege to introduce to you Don Tolman. Don, are you there?
I am here. Gosh, thank you, Leah. That's a beautiful introduction. Thank you. It's great to be back.
It was just such a great experience that I went through your help, and I want to share it with everybody up or front up, and we'll talk about it even later on. I've been having neuropathy for the last 3 years, which enabled me to walk, which I loved walking in the mornings, and I was unable to do so. And Don recommended something for me that I took it for 5 weeks. And what do you know? Last week, I started walking every morning, and I'm so excited to share it with everybody. And thanks, Don, to you. What a miracle you create in my life. And I really want to thank you very, very much. And I'm sure you have so much to add to my listeners, because the more they know about you, the more they want to know about you and learn about your capabilities. So really, welcome back again to Waves of Healing.
Wow. I'm so proud of you to be able to embrace simple, nature-made, healing practices, things that cost little to nothing, and just the fact that you had the confidence and even the willpower to, lay down all the weapons of war in the fight against disease coming from the pharmaceutical industries and doctors, and to embrace health. I'm just really, really proud of you, and I'm so thrilled that you're back walking again. Wow.
Oh, I'm not
that is just awesome. That's terrific. Gee, yes. Wow.
I can't stop laughing. What can I tell you?
Yeah, it is so terrific when people can begin to realize and even embrace the idea that your body knows how to heal itself, and as long as you support it, that's exactly what takes place. And so you're a perfect testimonial to the truth that the body can heal itself. It does, if we support it. And thanks for doing it and having me back. Thank you.
And I know that you healed a lot of cancer patients, and I wish I knew all I know now 12 years ago. What can I tell you?
Yeah.
You know how doctors scare you, the conventional doctors, when they discover something, they scare the hell out of you. And that's all I knew. And but lucky me, I did not have to do chemotherapy and radiation, because I caught it. I actually received a spiritual message that something was going on in my breast. I did not have a lump like all the other people have. But I did not have lump. I just got spiritual message that something was happening in my breast. And okay, so now, Don, tell us about, you are a whole food medicine man. Can you tell us more? And I know you are. And I'm a great testimonial. If you need any testimonial for your website, please let me know. I'll do a video, whatever you want me to do, I'll do that.
And
so,
I would love that. Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about your knowledge and how the whole food medicine man like you can help people with a product that you call Pulse. By the way, I'm going to order it on your website also.
Beautiful.
Oh,
a lot of people, they ask me, like I've been on a lot of national television and radio and magazine articles and things like that, and they'll say, well, what are your credentials? And, of course, credentials are absolutely meaningless from my perspective.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's just silliness, and the problem is that all authority is false. All authority is false. The only real authority is the truth. Truth is the only real authority. And the beautiful thing about human beings is they have the ability to feel at a cellular inner level, right up to the surface of the skin with goosebumps, literally, whenever they're hearing truth that relates to them. And so I'm not for credentials. I'm not for any kind of authoritative, expert, blah, blah, blah. In fact, I used to always tell people, never ask authorities because they don't know either. And when it comes down to this, a lot of people don't understand. And it took me several years to really key into this thing. I was studying the neurosciences at Duke University and going through the little medical program, and then all of a sudden my eyes were opened because of what I had been through from the time I was about 5.5 years old, looking for an ancient meal that I'd heard about by going to some friends' Sunday school class where one of the women there had read a little teeny tiny story out of a book inside of what they called a Bible, and it was called the Book of Daniel, chapter 1. And it talked about a meal that 4 kids wanted to eat instead of the king's sweetmeats and dainties and all the stuff that the king and his chefs were going to feed them for a 3-year encampment. And they were doing the camp to find those that could help the king rule his empire at the end of 3 years and all this. Anyway, the meal that these kids wanted, because they wouldn't eat any of the king's food, in the King James Version of the Bible was called pulse. Later, after 17 years of traveling around the world, going to 33 countries, living amongst, like 12.5 different cultures that still exist to this day, but they're off the grid and they're long-lived and just basically disease-free. I all of a sudden had my eyes opened and realized that the pharmaceutical medical industry is nothing more than experimentation. They don't know. And our ancient ancestors did know the principles of where life and health comes from, and they did know and understand the plants and the plant whole foods that restore functional capacities to the body. And so it was just really quite a thing going through all of this. I eventually did find pulse, quite by accident, in a private collection in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
Pythagoras had that food at the Pythagorean Academy of Healing and Knowledge and preparation for the Olympic Games, and he called the meal the meal of Hercules. And so it was really fascinating finally finding it, going through this whole thing. But the thing that I came to realize, the bottom line in all, is credentials, initials in front of your name, behind your name, and authority, and blah, 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 it's silly. It's ridiculous. It doesn't matter who said something. What matters is, what did they say? And does it make sense? Is it reasonable? Is it logical? Is it practical? Is it applicable to you yourself?
Wow.
And a lot of people don't realize that medical doctors are just students in the formal educational experience of today called academic training. And if you look up the word academics, it literally means trivia. And before all of that came about, after the year 326 A.D., with the murder of the scholars and the burning of Alexandria and the collections at Ephesus, which had all of this information that had been collected over thousands of years about whole foods and about plants and about fasting and how to heal yourself. You don't go to a doctor unless it's some kind of traumatic accident to where you're completely incapacitated and you need assistance. then that's
Right.
fine. But about 95 to 98% of all pharmaceutical, which means poison makers, and medical doctors who simply are good chant memorizers, who chant memorized in school, the curriculums bought and paid for and put into place by the pharmaceutical industry to chant memorize it, to stick in blanks on exams to get it what you believe is a correct answer. And
Right.
so doctors come out of there thinking they know the correct answers to health, healing, and restoration, when in fact it's been exposed again and again in the medical communities and in their publications that they're doing more harm than good. And in fact, iatrogenic death, which means doctor-induced death, is the number one killer of people in the United States. It kills over 2 million people a year. And that's not talking about the death that they create through treatments of cancer, treatment of heart, treatment of all kinds of stuff. That's actual exposed, outright doctor-caused death. And doctors have a legal license from the United States government and state governments because of buy-offs to lobbyists and politicians to have a legal license to be drug dealers, and so they have a license to practice on you.
Really?
You know? Yeah, and people don't even realize, and they don't even look up the word practice. And so they also have a legal license to be able to charge you or your healthcare program to do testing to find diagnosis. And if people would just look up the word diagnosis, gnosis means knowledge. Dia means split and unknown best guess. If you're diagnosed of having a disease, they are literally legally saying, we don't know what it is, but this is our best guess. And if you'll sign right here and take full legal responsibility, we will practice on you. Yeah. And so if they hurt you, if they harm you, if they do unnecessary surgeries, and all these doctors are trained in. They don't even know anything about health, little to nothing, unless they studied it on
nothing
their
about
own.
nutrition, whatsoever, nothing.
Yeah, nothing. And they don't even care about it. They don't even understand cause of disease. They don't even go after cause. They go after treating the symptoms, which means a sign or a signal of a chaos in the body. And so all they do is go after symptoms, and yet the symptom is actually the avenue of healing and release of the discomfort or disease from the body. But they don't know about that. They have no clue. They just know to hand out drugs like it's some kind of Hollywood candy or holiday candy or, whatever. And so they understand cut, burn, and poison, and that's it. And they think it's a war on discomforts or disease in the human body. And little of it actually cures or helps anything. And when that was finally come to my attention after years of investigative studies and living amongst cultures who are disease-free and long-lived, then I realized, okay, I'm studying to be a neurosurgeon, and it's a huge mistake for me, and so I quit and walked away. And that was too long of an answer, but, yeah, that's how I got involved in it. I finally did find the sacred ancient meal I was looking for, and it's just absolutely beautiful what it does for people. I can see why Daniel in the Old Testament and Pythagoras and others, and even in other cultures, had that meal. I mean, it's just brilliant. But, yeah, that's what got me going.
This is a wonderful story, and I'm sure you apply all this to your own life and your own family. I understand you have 11 children?
I do. Yeah. And 11? They were born at home.
And no insurance or whatsoever, and you just feed them the right nutrition, and everybody is blossoming. And I met you personally, the end of last year. No, actually in February this year. And you look like you are 40 years old, Don. How did you have that much time?
You're darling.
11 children.
You're so beautiful. And here I am climbing up on 70. I mean, that was a beautiful thing to say.
You're going to be kidding.
Oh, no, I'm up there. But I have a very beautiful, wonderful wife who's in her 40s, and we've been together for 25 years, and it's a beautiful experience. But, yeah, 11 kids, born at home, never vaccinated, never a vitamin K shot, never been to doctors, and they're healthy and happy, and they love sports. They love learning. They love scholastic or scholarly kinds of observational things. I don't push academic indoctrination through formal education for them at all. And they're happy, healthy, and very, very beautiful, beautiful kids. And, it's interesting because they're all vegetarian, and people wonder where they get their protein because they're vegetarian. And yet I have 8 boys, and all of them are anywhere from 6'3" to 6'7".
Wow.
And powerful kids. So, yeah. And so then I have to get into these discussions where protein actually comes from, because there's a real myth out there pushed by the pharmaceutical industry who owns the animal industry, So, anyway,
medical companies own the animal industry? I did not know that.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, absolutely. The pharmaceutical industry runs and controls the FDA. And the FDA controls and runs the USDA. And what it is that the pharmaceutical industry is the wealthiest industry on the face of the earth, and has been for a couple of hundred, if not more, years. And so the poison makers, and just like right now, the pharmaceutical industry makes somewhere, it's estimated, between $7 to $9 trillion annually just off their drug sales. And when you make $7 to $9 trillion, what do you do with all that money? You buy up mining, you buy up the oil industry, you pay for and control the educational system, you buy up the food industry. Whenever there's a company that's very, very successful with a food product, the pharmaceutical industry goes in and buys them out and then switches up the ingredients and goes from there.
Right.
It's like people have heard of Uncle Tom's. Well, when Uncle Tom's first started, it was just a very pure, wonderful product, even the toothpaste. But now they put in, the aluminum fluoride, which is toxic. They bought him out, and they switched it up and put all their toxic ingredients in all of these, what used to be natural products. Now they're toxic, but it still carries the name Uncle Tom's, and so people trust it, believe it, and they don't even read it or find out about it. And so, and they buy up the hog industry, the pig industry, the sheep industry, the fish industry, the cow industry, goat industry, and the chicken and turkey industry, and the toxic, horrible chemicals and preservatives they put in those meats is so toxic, but they know it's going to create symptoms that when people eat it, they'll come to the doctors and they'll start buying medicines. And so that's how they win all the way around. And so, they own and control the Coca-Cola company, the Pepsi company, the Dr. Pepper company, the Mountain Dew company, and they put all these toxic things. The energy drinks, like 5-Hour Energy and all the others, is now owned and controlled by the 12 top pharmaceutical houses here in the United States and around the globe. And they get away with it because they control the government. And I know that sounds like, that's just a conspiracy theory, blah, blah, blah. And if people would just shut up, sit down, and do their homework, it would shock them to the realities that are going on. They even buy in and control supplement pill and capsule companies and industry. And it just goes, there's no stop. They're the wealthiest group on the face of the earth, and money wins.
Money wins, unfortunately. And what they do is two things: robs us out of our pocket and our health.
Yep.
And they're killing more people than they're helping.
That is correct. That is absolutely.
Don, what can we do in order to create more awareness about what's happening? And, you are one person, and how many radio shows can you get to educate people? What other options the masses have in order to learn more, and how you can help them, the listeners, how to get involved more with whole food versus the magic pill that kills us?
Yeah, and that is absolutely where it has to go, as to where there's access so that people have knowledge and they can test it for themselves at very little, sometimes no cost whatsoever. It's just like today. I had a man in his 30s drive up to my house, get out of his car, walk up, knock on the door. I answered it. He looked at me, and his voice was so squeaky I could hardly understand him. And he had lost his voice. He was feeling horrible. He had felt that way for a week. And everybody around him was screaming at him to go to the emergency room, get antibiotics, have some tests done, have pain pills, do all this stuff. And right. he just did not want to do it. There was something in his guts that just said, no, don't. Then his neighbor told him about me, so he drove up here to Park City where I live, came to the house. I brought him into the house, and I said, this may not make a lot of sense to you, but it's just some ancient wisdom. I have some pink Himalayan rock salt here, and I have them in little chunks. And if you're not afraid just to suck on some rock salt, and here's a glass of water, I just want you to suck it. And it may take 3 or 4 days, but all of this will clear because salt will not allow swelling, inflammation, or pustulence inside the body or outside the body. And he's like, what? Isn't salt deadly and dangerous? My doctor told me I should never have salt because it's dangerous. And I said, no, he told you not to have sodium. And that's how they get away with it legally. People think that sodium is nature-made salt when, in fact, there's 500 sodium. There's sodium aluminate, there's sodium, all these different. And I said, listen, if you're not afraid, just try it right here, right now. And guess what, Leah? Guess what? In less than 60 seconds, his voice was back perfectly, and he could feel the swelling in his throat had disappeared. 60 seconds of sucking on rock salt. So then I take him out on our upper level, second level deck out there, and we're sitting in the sun. He's sipping the water and sucking on rock salt. I'm just talking to him. And about 10 minutes later, he had his energy back. He had his brain back. His voice was perfectly back. He got on the phone, called his wife, called his kids, and he was crying. He could not believe that something so simple, because he was being slammed and hammered to get antibiotics, to get all of the testing, blah, 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 blah. And all it took was a little bit of salt. And I didn't mean to go off on you there. I probably even totally spaced what you asked me, but it was just such a perfect example that happened just about 5 hours ago right at my home, So.
Oh, wow. This is a great story, and I believe it. I experienced it myself with you, so why wouldn't I believe it?
You're so awesome. But, when it comes to people doing the way of nature, nature's complex so that we don't have to be. the atomic molecular cellular structures of plants, of even minerals, of physical matter of our own bodies. Our bodies are made up of an estimated 10,000 trillion cells. Even the medical industry admits they only understand less than 2% of cell function. And yet they sit there and they use fear and bullying to get you to sign off legally so they can practice on you. And you take the drugs, you take the surgeries, you take the radiation, and they will scare the living pudding out of you and convince you, if you don't do this, you're just going to be dead, you're going to be hurting, you're going to be blah, blah, blah. You'd better do this right now. And that's their training. They're trained to scare you and to get you to sign off. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Jeez. So crazy. And they use guilt. If it's your child, they will throw guilt in your face and make you feel so guilty. What's the matter with you? Don't you love your child? We need to cut their leg off. We need to get them on drugs. We need to give them open heart surgery. We need. And all it is money. And people don't realize when you go to the doctor, you're nothing more than a cash cow waiting to be milked. And that's what they're going to do. Yeah.
Agree with you. I know the American Cancer Society, FDA, the conventional medical industry, and now I discovered that they control the food industry and the cattle and the animals and whatever we eat. I mean, this is unbelievable.
Yeah.
God.
They own it. And what people have got to get back and understand, honestly, is that whole foods are medicines, that the oils of certain plants and even certain foods are medicines if they're done properly and, supporting the physics of nature.
Right.
And the best medicine a person can have inside their body is to eat whole foods that grows in the season that it comes forth.
Right.
So that those plant foods were produced in the same temperate zone as your body lives in. Those are the highest and the best. Now, if you live up in Alaska or in the Arctic and they ship bananas from Hawaii, fine. It's fine, but there are plants and foods that grow up in that region that you can dry. You can actually put in a underground cellar. When it comes to beans and lentils and pumpkins, hard squash, even apples that come on in the fall, you can store those underground at the temperature of the underground area, and you can eat those throughout the winter months. And you can even cook them. And that's what a lot of people freak out when they find out of the hundreds and even thousands of people that I've assisted in helping them to heal themselves.
Dan, do you have all this information on your website? Can you mention your website so people can go learn more about what you offer and how much knowledge they can get and all this kind of stuff? What is your website?
Oh, yeah. Thank you. It's the typical www. And then it's thedontolman.com. And if you'll go to that, we have lots of information there for you. But then we also have a ringleader program for people who want to go deep and wide into the knowledge and the understanding of our ancestors when it comes to health. We actually have, in the ringleaders section, several hundred hours of audio, video. We have tons of printed information that you can read. We have epicures for all of the diseases, diagnostics that people get slammed with from their doctors, and the simple epicures for those kinds of things. I've actually have put together the Tolman Academy online, which is a certified program to where people who are interested can become whole food practitioners and consultants to people on all of this health idea. And so they can do that as well. And then they're also taught and trained into in-home inspectors, because they can be paid to go into people's homes, show them which light bulbs to get rid of because they're sublimating mercury into the atmosphere and the people are breathing it, which can lead to physical and mental fatigue and all kinds. And so you go in, you open the cupboards, you open the medicine cabinet, you show people what they should throw out and get rid of, never have, what to replace it with, in a healthy embrace of the physics of nature around us, which we're a part of. And so just thedontolman.com. And I appreciate you allowing me to say that. Thank you.
Well, of course, this is the reason we are here, because we want to give all this information to people who are open and who are willing to do something good for themselves versus putting all these poisonous pills in their body and die.
Yes, thank you. And that's exactly what it is. Yeah. Jeez.
Well, I've been feeling like this for last 10 years, and I do whatever I can in order to bring more people to really eat healthy and not to take all these magic pills that we believe that they are good for us. And this is the purpose of my show. That's why I want to bring people like you and other people who are doing all kind of medical things like you do. So, Don, I have another question to ask you. Do you have any magic healing things in your website for people who have osteoporosis?
Absolutely. Yeah, we've, I've helped, probably close to 1,000 people who have some pretty advanced cases of osteoporosis. People who are also told that the cartilage in the joints is, wasted away and it's bone on bone and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
And people who are even scheduled for hip and shoulder replacements, if they have the courage to give it a try before they go through all that, they heal it, and it's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. In fact, they decided to test it.
That's on your website?
I think it's inside the Ringleader membership area. But what you do and what people need to understand when it comes to any kind of a bone problem is that blood calcium is the highest service area to the bones themselves. And the way that you get the highest levels of blood calcium, and this is contrary to what doctors are taught, and yet it is absolutely real and true. It's salt. Your bones are 90% salt.
Wow.
And if you don't eat enough salt, you're going to have weak bones. And so the pharmaceutical industry attacked salt, telling people that if you eat salt, they don't say salt, they say sodium, and that's how they get away with it legally. Because a lot of the commercial sodiums or salts have aluminum fluoride, they have sodium hexachromium, there's 500 sodiums that's man-made and they created, and all of them are toxic. And so they can say sodium on the package of a food, and you think it's salt. No. 98% of the time it's not salt. It's a man-made toxic sodium. So if people will eat salt, they won't have high blood pressure. If they eat salt and drink enough water, it balances it. But here's what happens in the body when you eat salt.
Okay.
When you eat salt, it ionizes into calcium. It turns into calcium. All of the cells of the human body run on the electric spark, and they even call it electrolytes, of salt and potassium. So bananas have high natural concentrations of potassium, and if you eat nature-made salt, all of your cells are going to thrive and function at full capacities electrically if you have enough potassium and salt. And, of course, other foods have potassium as well as salt in them. But when you have Dead Sea salt, Celtic salt, regular sea salt, Redmond salt, pink Himalayan salt, you have any of those salts, and you eat enough of it and drink water, the first thing it does in the body, it ionizes into calcium, and the bones uptake it, and that's what keeps the bones strong. And what led to this understanding was an investigative study of geophysicists who wanted to know what's going on in the oceans, because oceans are salty, and yet on the bottom of the ocean floor, it's covered deep in salt. Right. And all of the crustaceans, the seashells, the lobsters, clams, oysters, all of their shells are pure calcium. And they were like, where did all this calcium come from? And so what they found out, the coral calcium, the silt calcium on the bottom of the ocean, the seashells, all of these things, what happens is when there's water that has salt in it and sunshine shines through it, it produces calcium. So when your body has enough salt and water and you go out into the sunlight, it produces not only vitamin D that the liver can store and the body needs so profoundly, it creates calcium that solidifies and heals bones. So we've had people eat foods that have the highest sodium content, such as celery, bok choy, rhubarb. Anything in a stalk has the highest phytolytic or plant sodium in it. So if you eat those foods, and this is what we did at Cornell Medical, we had osteoporosis people with advanced cases put salt, good salt, on the foods that they ate. Then they ate
Don, when you say salt, you mentioned natural salt or Himalayan salt. But the average person goes to the market. Which one should they get?
You'd better get good sea salt or Celtic salt or even the pink Himalayan. When you go to the market, don't you dare buy Morton salt and other things like that. They add aluminum to it so it doesn't cake. They also spray aspartame on their salts.
Right.
So when you eat commercial salt, you're eating aspartame and aluminum and other chemicals as well. So it's got to be a salt that is simply nature-made and harvested without any toxic things going on. And we have some of the best salts on the earth on our website if you don't have it local. You can go onto our website. We have pink Himalayan rock salt. We have dendritic Dead Sea salt that is actually gathered by a family that lives about an hour from where I live. One of the saltiest Dead Seas is right here in Utah, down north of Salt Lake City, and they actually have tunnels that they have cut into the sides of the Dead Sea, and it goes about 300 feet deep, and they wood rake it. They use wooden rakes. It's one of the purest salts on the face of the earth, and it's called dendritic because when it evaporates on black paper, it creates in the crystal formation of the salt formations that look exactly like the dendrites in the brain. It's one of the only salts on the earth that does that. Most salt forms into cubes, but this is actually dendritic, and so it's literally one of the best salts you can have, and we have it there. I think people would be blown away by it if they got it and tried it. But so
on
salt,
your
celery, yeah.
When they have to go to store, they have to go to a section called store, and from there they can find everything that you are mentioning that they can purchase through your website?
Yes. They'll see on the left-hand side it says categories,
right.
And it'll show foods, it'll show salt, it'll show ebook downloads if there's things they want to read about and learn. And
right.
it's all right there. Yeah. Absolutely.
So again, your website is thedonTolman.com, and let me just spell it for you. THEDONTOLMAN.com. So I really encourage everybody, go visit Don's website, and you can get so much education and so many different things that it's just unbelievable information. And I think, Don, there is some place in the Bible that it says, "Let their food be their medicine, not their medicine their food." Where does it say this phrase?
It's one of the best locations of the health ideas was in Leviticus, but then it was also in other areas. In fact, I'm glad you brought it up because I want to do a blog on that, and I'll make sure it's on the website just within the next couple of days. And not only does it say, "Let foods be your medicines," it also talks about the salt covenant. And Moses, who was an ancient healer at the Temple of On in Heliopolis, before they did their exodus and got out of Egypt,
right.
The thing that people need to realize is that it talks about the ancient salt covenant, and it says right in there, "And this salt covenant should be amongst my people forever and ever." And so I went to the Jewish community. I went to the Christian communities. I went to the Catholics. I went to the Southern Baptists. I went to over 200 different Christian religious groups, as well as the Jewish people and their teachers, and said, "What was the salt covenant?" No one knew. Not one person knew. And luckily, I came across it in a collection of ancient and arcane artifacts that I'd come across in the Collections Nationale in Europe. And it was quite by accident. But what it was talking about was a cleansing of the human body to restore health and energy, and what the ancient salt covenant was. And anybody that has tried this, it blows them away at what a beautiful job it does for cleansing and energy in the body. And what you do is you use 1 quart of water, or a liter, and you use 2 level teaspoons of sea salt. And you put it in the water, and you stir it up in the solution, and you drink it in the morning before you eat or drink anything else. And if you'll do that, the first week or so, it just goes right through the alimentary canal and shoots out the back door, and it cleanses, it heals, and as you keep it up, the flushing isn't as intense, but it was one of the most brilliant wisdoms of the ancient world. And I'm hoping that yourself and others will give this a try and just see how this thing goes. I mean, it's just absolutely brilliant. And then to have salt, the thing is that in that mix, we tested it at MIT up in Boston, Massachusetts, and they found out that when you do that mix that they understood anciently, it has the same salinity as blood, sweat, and tears, which is how the body cleanses and gets rid of toxic poison. So it's really brilliant.
This is our salty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don, please repeat the quantities of what to do in the morning so people can get it and so I can write it down myself to use it.
Yeah, we'll put that on the blog as well and put it onto the website. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. This is great. I'm telling you.
You're such a doll. I love your passion and your support for health and healing without any toxic crap. I love it, Leah. I really do.
I love you, and I love Amber. And by the way, Amber is Don's wife, you mentioned earlier. And I love communicating with her and with you, and just fantastic. Oh, what else can you tell us?
You.
I mean,
it just one of the things I hope people wake up to, because there's so much marketing behind it now, and even the pharmaceutical industry is coming in and buying them out and doing their own mixes, and, is the idea of supplements. The word supplement, look it up in a dictionary. It means fractured and incomplete. And that is nothing that you want to be taking into your body. You want complementary, spelled M-E-N-T, complement, M-E-N-T. Complement means wholeness. When you fracture and separate and take one nutritional component out of a plant or a plant whole food, concentrate it, process it, put it into a pill or capsule, it's toxic and it's not helping you. It can give you a symptomatic hit just like a prescription or over-the-counter drug does, but it's going to have side effects and toxicities over time and distance. And so I'm hoping people will really take a look, getting off of prescription and over-the-counter drugs, getting off of supplements, and just embracing clean air, clean water, walking, sunshine, whole foods, loving, touching relationships, and being passionate about something, because those are the principles of health that were talked about, recorded, tested, and proven to be correct over time and distance within the human experience. And one thing that people need to understand, there's only one disease, one, not 37,000 like a lot of the medical websites say. There's only one disease, and that's chaos at the atomic level that leads to chaos at the molecular level that creates chaos at the cellular level, and when enough cells are in chaos, you feel it as a symptom. And there's only two causes of chaos, toxicity or deficiency. And in most people in modern countries, it's both. They're toxic and they're deficient. And so you get rid of the toxicities, you learn how to clean the body, which I have tons of stuff on the website to help you do that, and you overcome deficiencies by embracing whole foods, clean air, clean water, walking, sunshine, and things like that. And it's that simple, and because it's simple, most people think it's hogwash. They don't believe it. But health is simple. Health is simple, as you know, Leah.
I know. I've never been sick before. I've never been in the hospital before, besides catching cold here and there, and all of a sudden I had that. And the reason was because I was on hormone replacement therapy. And the doctor who prescribed it to me told me it's good for me and I should take it for the rest of my life. And
good grief.
And 10 years later, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I did not come from a family with the breast cancer, or I was overweight or drinking alcohol, or
sure.
I don't even drink coffee. I mean, you know what I'm telling you, what I'm saying? So I know exactly what you are talking about, and that's why I want to have this show, to bring people like you to educate the masses, because we all have it in us, and we just have to listen to people who know about it more than people who are practiced on us, like the conventional medical establishment and the doctors who are under control of the pharmaceutical companies anyway, right?
Yep. Yeah. Gee whiz. It is so insane. It is.
It is. It is insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're trying to put sanity in other people's mind. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, no, it's just, it's so simple. And if people just went back and looked at an ancient principle of health called the law of similarities, it means a thing like unto itself is drawn. And it had to do with the geometries of the organs of our body that look like the geometries of foods. Like a walnut looks like the brain. Now they know that the ancients were right. Walnuts are brain food. Right. Bell pepper that's red or a tomato that's red has 4 chambers. The heart's red and has 4 chambers. Now they know it's heart food. It's no accident we call them kidney beans. They target the kidneys for healing and repair. And again, I have all this kind of stuff on my website. I've even written books about it. We have the books in ebook form or hard copy on the website so that people can see the 7 body systems, the anatomy and the physiologies, and the top 13 foods that target, heal, and repair those 7 systems. But it's like you're saying, we've got to move away from the complexities, from the fear, from the guilt, and all of the treatments and this and that, and get back to being responsible for ourselves. The ability to respond is responsibility, and to be able to realize nobody knows as much about our own bodies as we do. We live there.
I believe we are the best doctors for ourselves. Exactly.
100%.
Because the doctors that you go to, they never ask you what you ate, what are you eating, what causes it. Right. I mean, when something happens to me recently, I say, wait a second, what changes I made in my eating or my state of mind in order to experience whatever I'm experiencing right now in my body? And I learn. And I go back, what I ate last week. I mean, we are the best doctors. And we really should listen to ourselves versus. Now, last time we talked about, you said that you are creating something that everybody could grow their own vegetables at home, even indoor. Can you elaborate a little bit more about it?
Yeah, I was hoping to have it done by now, but it hasn't worked out. I think that we'll be able to launch that in sometime about mid or the end of August. And it's container gardening in containers that you can just build yourself very simply. And I actually give you the drawings that I had a cousin of mine create for me, so it's easy to follow step by step. And then we have gardening kits that has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of seeds of different kinds of vegetables and even fruits and things. And then we have worm castings that are just mind-boggling, and that'll all come in this garden kit. And you can grow enough food. If you have about 8 windows with the windowsills on them, and then outdoors during the right temperatures, you build a pyramid gardening container. But you can raise enough food to feed a family of 6 year-round yourself.
Wow.
At a cost that is just next to nothing. And that's what people have forgotten, and that's why I want to bring all this back. Yeah.
This is wonderful. What you do is absolutely wonderful. Oh.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow.
And kids love it. Kids love watching, like, the tomatoes or the cherry tomatoes grow, the snap peas, you know, some of the leafy greens. And, oh, man, it's just so fun to watch kids and to watch them get involved. And then they love it the rest of their life. You know, so fun.
I know. They get them involved. They know where the food comes from. And it's a great education.
Totally. 100%.
It's a great education for all of us. So, to go to your ringleader that you mentioned on your website, it's a membership site, the ringleader?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a membership. It is $98 a month.
Right.
But I think that it is the best investment in the health of yourself and your loved ones and even your friends and others that you could ever possibly make. I don't know of anybody around that has this ancient wisdom and things put together in this way. It's a 1-year membership, so you're committing to 1 year, and you can go in and study the curriculums at your own pace, at your own time. Then you also have access to the entire sets of information that we have there, and audio recordings from webinars, international webinars, and all kinds of things. And if you decide to pay for the year up front, you save 2 months. So you save $200 by paying for the full year.
Wow.
But if it's easier for people, then they can certainly just go in and do the $98 a month Ringleader membership. And with that, you also get a 20% discount on all of the foods, the personal care products that are all edible, and also the salts and the e-books and books and everything else. You get a 20% discount on all of that. So a lot of people save that much money just because when they see what it is and what they have and what they want, you know, it pays for the membership itself just in the discount. So
absolutely,
thanks for bringing that up. Yeah.
Oh, this is wonderful, wonderful. I just want you to repeat again about the quantity of the salt that we have to drink in the morning with water. How much?
Yeah, it's 2 level teaspoons.
2 teaspoons.
In a quart of water, or 1 liter. You know, it's just a quart of water and 2 level teaspoons. Yep. And drink it in the morning on empty stomach? Yes, on an empty stomach. Yes. Yep.
Wow.
And it's brilliant.
I'm going to adapt it tomorrow into my health.
Beautiful. I'm glad to hear it. I am. Very glad to hear it.
One of you to repeat so I can do it tomorrow morning before I take a walk. You know, I can walk now.
Yeah, I love it. That's terrific.
Also, I do, when I come back from walk, I do the sea salt water, soaking my feet into sea salt water.
Yeah.
With carbonated soda, as you said. You know, you told me to do it, like to take a bath, but I have a bathtub. I don't have the small one. So I put it in a tall bucket and soak my feet into the water. Beautiful. And also my hands.
Yeah, perfect.
So, I mean, I'm telling you, and it feels so good. You know, one day, about 3 weeks ago, my feet, one of them was swollen. I don't know what happened. And so I went and did it twice a day with the salt water, with sea salt water, and it's all gone.
Wow. Isn't that fun how that works?
I know. I know. You're a miracle. I can't tell you more than I don't know what to say. You're absolutely.
Oh, you're beautiful. Thank you, Lee, and it's been so wonderful to be on your show. Thank you so much.
And we'll have to schedule another time because you have so much to talk about, and probably sometimes in September. I'll be in touch with Amber, and
yeah,
we'll
I'd love it. I look forward to it.
Again, I want to thank you so much, Don, for what you are doing, for your knowledge, for sharing your knowledge with everybody. And you are a walking miracle for everybody, at least for me. I could not tell before for everybody, but I can tell now for myself that after what I experienced, that you're absolutely a miracle. And thank you so much for what you do. And again, I would like to, for the last time, to mention your website.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just thedontolman.com. www.thedontolman.com. thedontolman.com. Thank you.
And thank you very much, Don, again. And I want to also thank the listeners for listening to Don's show. For so many people listen to your show that I had to invite you again to come again on my show. And also wanted to tell everybody, Don, oh my God, I know whom you can help tremendously. And I want to tell everybody, and you also, okay? So we are speaking about healing ourselves and the world. I encourage all the listeners to visit Dr. Craig's website at www.healingwithdrcraig.com and be a part of Dr. Craig's The Healers. Dr. Craig is defying conventional expectations after 18 years since being diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease, and his mission is to help others to heal. Please share your wisdom to the healers by joining forces with other prominent healers such as Dr. Bruce Lipton, Dr. Bernie Siegel, Dr. Larry Malerba, and many more. Again, the website address is www.healingwithdrcraig.com. And I want to tell you also who's going to be my guest next week, who is Emmanuel Dagger. No, actually, next week I'm going to be your guest and talk about my experience with breast cancer and about my book and so forth. And on July 10th, we have Emmanuel Dagger, who had an honor who is the author of the book Easy Breezy Miracle. And he's an exceptional person. He's a teacher, he's transformational specialist and holistic health practitioner. So please tune in to our next week's show, to next week's show and to July 10th show with Emmanuel Dagger. And I would like to say goodbye to everybody till next week and thereafter. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.